The use of German prisoners of war as laborers was a crucial aspect of the American wartime economy, as detailed in War Department circulars and logistical records. These POWs were deployed across various sectors, including agriculture, canneries, and factories. One such assignment brought a group of German POWs to a munitions plant, where they encountered an unexpected workforce: American women. During World War II, as millions of American men were drafted into military service, women entered the labor force in unprecedented numbers. According to records from the U.S. Department of Labor, women made up nearly 30% of the workforce by 1945, taking on roles traditionally held by men. They operated presses, managed gauges, and worked assembly stations with practiced confidence, challenging preconceived notions about gender and capability. The presence of women in these industrial roles was not merely a temporary measure, but part of a well-organized system. The walls of the munitions plant were lined with union notices, pay schedules, and training charts, as noted in camp newspapers and Red Cross inspection reports. These documents reveal a structured environment where women were not only workers, but also contributors to a rapidly evolving labor movement. The technical proficiency and assertiveness of these women were evident in their daily tasks. They debated over equipment calibration and operational efficiency with a level of expertise typically reserved for trained engineers. This scene, captured in Red Cross inspection accounts, illustrates the shifting dynamics within the American workforce, where skill and competence transcended traditional gender roles. For the German POWs, accustomed to a cultural narrative that emphasized female domesticity and weakness, the sight of women mastering complex industrial tasks was an ideological shock. The War Department circulars and transportation logs show that these POWs were often rotated through various labor assignments, exposing them to a broad spectrum of American industrial capabilities. When a German officer inquired about the absence of male workers, the foreman, referring to the ongoing conflict, pointed out that the men were fighting overseas. This pragmatic response, as documented in camp records, underscored a fundamental shift in societal roles catalyzed by the exigencies of war. Within the confines of the munitions plant, German POWs worked under the supervision of women, an arrangement that was both practical and symbolic. The interaction between the POWs and their female supervisors was governed by strict protocols, as outlined in U.S. Army Provost Marshal General records. These interactions, though limited, provided the POWs with a first-hand view of the changing dynamics of American society. At Camp Butner, the logistics of daily life were managed with military precision. Food systems were governed by rationing policies, and POWs received wages in the form of coupons, exchangeable for goods at the camp canteen. These arrangements, meticulously detailed in transportation logs and agricultural labor contracts, reflect the broader economic framework supporting the war effort. Education and recreational activities were integral to the POW experience, as encouraged by YMCA programs and the International Red Cross. Camp records indicate that POWs had access to libraries, sports, and cultural events, designed to maintain morale and provide a semblance of normalcy amidst the uncertainties of war. Medical access and discipline within the camp were overseen by military and civilian authorities, ensuring compliance with international agreements. Red Cross inspections and camp disciplinary reports highlight the efforts to adhere to the Geneva Convention, providing POWs with necessary medical care and maintaining order through a system of rewards and penalties. As the war drew to a close, the process of repatriation and re-education began. Post-war directives focused on preparing POWs for their return to Germany, emphasizing skills and knowledge gained during their internment. This transitional phase documented in repatriation records, marked the end of a unique chapter in the history of World War II, illustrating the complex interplay of war, labor, and societal change. As the summer of 1944 progressed, Camp Butner became a microcosm of the broader societal shifts occurring across the United States. Nestled amidst the rolling hills of North Carolina, the camp was a sprawling complex that housed thousands of German prisoners of war, POWs. These men, once fierce adversaries on the battlefield, found themselves far from home, adapting to a new life dictated by the protocols of the Geneva Convention. Through the barbed wire fences and guard towers, the POWs were introduced to a different kind of battle, the struggle to find purpose and meaning within the confines of captivity. The German POWs, now well integrated into the camp's routines, had grown accustomed to the regimented life that was meticulously organized to comply with international standards. Each day they rose to the sound of a bugle call, signaling the start of another day filled with various labor assignments. Among these tasks, one of the most significant was their work at the nearby munitions plant. This plant, a vital cog in the machinery of the American war effort, was a bustling hub of activity, characterized by the rhythmic clatter of machinery and the focused intensity of its predominantly female workforce. These women, often referred to as Rosie the Riveters, were emblematic of a nationwide movement where women stepped into roles traditionally held by men. With their husbands, brothers, and sons off fighting in distant lands, American women were called upon to support the war effort from the home front. They donned overalls and bandanas, rolled up their sleeves, and set to work with a determination that would become legendary. The plant's environment was one of efficiency and precision, with women managing complex tasks such as operating presses, calibrating gauges, and assembling munitions components with a practiced assurance that defied the stereotypes the German soldiers had previously held. The German POWs, under the watchful eye of military personnel, were assigned to various support roles within the plant. Their tasks were carefully chosen to ensure they did not have access to sensitive information or materials. Nonetheless, their roles provided ample opportunity to observe the seamless integration of women into industrial labor. The POWs noted how the women collaborated effectively, addressing technical challenges and optimizing production processes with a level of expertise that rivaled their male predecessors. The image of women wielding tools and mastering machinery left an indelible impression on the POWs, who had been brought up in a society where gender roles were rigidly defined. Over time, the initial skepticism of the German POWs began to erode. Their observations were tinged with a growing respect for the capabilities of their female counterparts. The women exhibited a resilience and adaptability that were crucial to maintaining production quotas critical to the war effort. The POWs, many of whom had been indoctrinated with notions of male superiority, found themselves reevaluating their preconceptions about gender roles. They watched as the women handled the demanding and often dangerous work with a calm competence that belied any doubts about their abilities. In the evenings after their shifts at the plant, the POWs returned to the confines of Camp Butner. The camp itself was a well-organized establishment, providing various amenities and activities designed to occupy the prisoners' time and comply with international standards. A library stocked with books, a sports field for recreational activities, and educational programs were all part of the camp's offerings. These initiatives, while ensuring the humane treatment of prisoners, also served to maintain order and discipline within the camp. The library, in particular, became a place of quiet reflection for many POWs. It offered a selection of books in both German and English, allowing prisoners to broaden their horizons and gain insights into American society and culture. Some POWs took this opportunity to improve their English language skills, driven by a curiosity about the country that had so thoroughly mobilized its resources for the war effort. The books provided a window into the values and ideals of a nation that placed such importance on freedom and equality, concepts that were increasingly at odds with the ideologies the POWs had been taught. As weeks turned into months, the POWs' experiences at the munitions plant and their interactions with American society began to reshape their understanding of the war. The realization that women could effectively fill roles traditionally dominated by men was a revelation that underscored the adaptability and resilience of the American workforce. This shift in perception was not limited to the POWs alone. The broader implications of women's contributions to the war effort were being recognized across the United States, setting the stage for future societal changes. The image of women stepping confidently into positions of responsibility would linger long after the war ended, inspiring new generations to challenge the status quo. The presence of the German POWs in the munitions plant also served as a practical solution to labor shortages. With many American men serving in the military, the need for labor in essential industries was acute. The utilization of POW labor within the constraints of international law provided a means to alleviate this shortage while ensuring the continued production of war materials. The German POWs, in turn, were given a sense of purpose and structure, mitigating the monotony of camp life and fostering a sense of contribution, albeit to their adversaries' cause. The relationship between the POWs and their supervisors, both male and female, was one of mutual respect tempered by the realities of wartime. The American supervisors, while maintaining a professional distance, were often impressed by the efficiency and discipline exhibited by the POWs. This mutual respect, however, was always overshadowed by the knowledge that the POWs were part of an enemy force, and interactions were conducted with a necessary degree of caution. The POWs, for their part, recognized the professionalism and fairness with which they were treated, further complicating their views of the enemy. The foreman of the munitions plant, a pragmatic figure who served as a liaison between the POWs and the American workforce, played a crucial role in facilitating this uneasy coexistence. He was responsible for ensuring that the POWs understood their tasks and adhered to safety protocols, a task complicated by language barriers and cultural differences. His pragmatic approach, combined with a fair and consistent management style, helped to maintain a functional and productive work environment. The foreman, a veteran of the First World War, understood the complexities of war and the humanity that underpinned even the most adversarial relationships. Throughout the summer, the German POWs at Camp Butner continued to perform their duties at the munitions plant, their perceptions continually challenged by the realities they witnessed. The war, once viewed through the lens of propaganda and ideology, now appeared in a different light. The contributions of American women to the war effort, a testament to the nation's resilience and resourcefulness, were undeniable. The POWs found themselves grappling with the cognitive dissonance of witnessing a society that defied their expectations and challenged their deeply held beliefs. As the end of the war loomed on the horizon, the experiences of the German POWs at Camp Butner would leave a lasting impact. For many, the lessons learned during their time in captivity would shape their views long after their repatriation. The realization that societal roles could be redefined, that women could excel in fields once deemed the exclusive domain of men, would resonate with them as they returned to a war-torn Europe. As the POWs prepared for their return journey, they carried with them a newfound understanding of the complexities of human capability and the potential for change. In the broader context of American society, the wartime contributions of women marked a turning point in the struggle for gender equality. The skills and confidence gained during their time in the workforce would empower many women to seek greater opportunities in the post-war era, challenging traditional gender norms and paving the way for future advancements in women's rights. The war had served as a crucible, forging a new sense of identity and possibility for women across the nation. As factories converted back to peacetime production and soldiers returned home, the echoes of the transformation that had taken place would continue to reverberate, laying the groundwork for the women's liberation movements that would emerge in the decades to come. The story of the German POWs at Camp Butner and their interactions with American women workers serves as a poignant reminder of the complex interplay between war, labor, and societal change. It highlights the capacity for individuals to adapt and grow in the face of adversity, and the profound impact such experiences can have on perceptions and ideologies. The camp, with its regimented routines and unexpected lessons, became a microcosm of a world in flux, where old certainties crumbled in the face of new realities. As the war drew to a close, the repatriation of German POWs marked the end of a significant chapter in the history of Camp Butner. For the American women who had worked alongside them, the end of the war represented both a return to pre-war normalcy and the beginning of a new era of opportunity. The legacy of their contributions would endure, a testament to their resilience and determination in a time of unprecedented challenge. The munitions plant, once a symbol of wartime necessity, became a monument to the spirit of a generation that had risen to meet the demands of history, leaving an indelible mark on the fabric of American society. The German POWs at Camp Butner, upon finding themselves in the heart of North Carolina, were thrust into a new reality far removed from the battlefields of Europe. Initially, there was a palpable tension as these soldiers, accustomed to the rigors of military life, found themselves in a situation that was both unfamiliar and humbling. However, as time went on, the routine of daily life at Camp Butner began to take shape, and the POWs gradually settled into their new roles, particularly those at the munitions plant. The munitions plant was a testament to American industrial prowess, a sprawling facility that buzzed with activity and purpose. It was a model of efficiency and organization, embodying the spirit of the Allied war effort. As the German POWs arrived each day, they were greeted by an impressive sight, rows upon rows of machinery, all humming in unison, operated by a workforce that was predominantly female. The rhythmic clatter of presses and the steady hum of conveyor belts underscored the relentless pace of wartime production, a symphony of industrial might that left an indelible impression on the German soldiers. The women who worked at the plant were a diverse group, drawn from various walks of life, yet united by the common cause of supporting the war effort. They arrived each day with an air of determination, clad in overalls, and with their hair tucked beneath bandanas. These women, ranging from young to middle-aged, included former school teachers, homemakers, and even some who had never worked outside the home before the war. Yet, despite their varied backgrounds, they moved with precision and confidence, handling the machinery with practiced ease. The German POWs, many of whom had never seen women in such roles, were initially surprised by the proficiency and dedication of their female counterparts. In their pre-war lives, the idea of women operating heavy machinery and contributing so significantly to a nation's industrial output was almost inconceivable. Yet, here they were, on the front lines of production, mastering the technical skills required to produce the munitions essential for the front lines, and doing so with an efficiency that was both surprising and impressive. The foreman of the plant, a seasoned supervisor, played a crucial role in maintaining a disciplined yet supportive work environment. He frequently communicated with the German POWs, providing clear instructions and addressing any issues that arose. Language barriers posed occasional challenges, but he adeptly facilitated understanding through a combination of gestures and demonstrations. The POWs, initially hesitant and harboring preconceived notions, gradually found themselves integrated into the work environment. Their initial skepticism about the limitations of female workers was steadily eroded by the evidence before them. The plant itself was a sprawling complex, with various sections dedicated to different stages of production. From the initial assembly lines, where raw materials were transformed into usable components, to the final inspection areas, where quality control ensured that every piece met stringent standards, the operation was a marvel of coordination. Each worker contributed to a specific part of the process, and the German POWs, assigned to tasks such as transporting raw materials and assisting in quality control, witnessed firsthand the intricate choreography of the operation. The meticulous attention to detail was a hallmark of the American manufacturing process, which stood in sharp contrast to the preconceived notions they had harbored. Part of the work routine included regular safety briefings and training sessions, where the German POWs were exposed to the intricate workings of the machinery. These sessions, often led by the women workers themselves, provided an opportunity for the POWs to gain insights into the technical competence of their female counterparts. The briefings were conducted with a focus on precision and clarity, emphasizing the importance of maintaining high standards in production and safety. Over time, the POWs began to appreciate the collaborative nature of the plant's workforce, observing how the women worked together to solve problems, share expertise, and support one another in a manner that was both efficient and effective. This sense of camaraderie was not lost on the German soldiers, who had been accustomed to the rigid hierarchies of military life. In the plant, they witnessed a different kind of hierarchy, one based on mutual respect and cooperation. The plant's environment fostered a sense of community and shared purpose, qualities that the POWs came to value deeply. They saw firsthand how the women supported each other, celebrating successes and pooling their collective knowledge to overcome challenges. This was a revelation for many of the POWs, challenging their preconceived notions about gender roles and the capabilities of women. Beyond their work at the plant, the POWs had access to various educational programs offered at Camp Butner. These programs, designed to occupy their time productively and comply with international conventions, provided courses in English, American history, and vocational skills. The camp's library, stocked with an array of books and periodicals, served as a resource for the POWs to learn more about the American way of life. Many of the German soldiers took advantage of these opportunities, driven by a curiosity to understand the society that had so effectively mobilized its resources for war. The German POWs' engagement with American culture extended beyond the confines of the munitions plant and the camp. They were occasionally allowed to participate in supervised recreational activities such as sports and film screenings, which offered further glimpses into American life. These experiences, while limited in scope, contributed to a gradual shift in their perceptions, challenging the stereotypes they had once held. Watching American films, for instance, provided insights into the values and aspirations of the broader society, painting a picture of a nation that was both diverse and united in its pursuit of victory. As the war progressed, the reality of the situation became increasingly clear to the German POWs. Reports of the advancing Allied forces and the growing strength of the Soviet Union painted a grim picture for the German war effort. The POWs, having witnessed the industrial capacity of the United States firsthand, understood the implications of a nation capable of mobilizing its entire population, including its women, to support the war. This realization was underscored by the steady stream of munitions that flowed from the plant, destined for the battlefields of Europe and the Pacific. The experiences of the German POWs at Camp Butner and the munitions plant served as a microcosm of the broader societal changes taking place in the United States. The role of women in the workforce, once seen as temporary, had become an undeniable force in the nation's economic and social fabric. the war had catalyzed a transformation that would have lasting implications for gender roles and the post-war world. In many ways, the women at the plant were pioneers, challenging traditional norms and paving the way for future generations. As the German POWs continued their daily routines, they became increasingly aware of the resilience and adaptability of the American people. The women they worked alongside were not merely filling gaps left by men, but were integral to the success of the war effort. This recognition marked a significant ideological shift for the POWs, challenging deeply ingrained beliefs and prompting a reevaluation of their understanding of gender and societal roles. They saw that the war effort was not just about military might, but about the collective strength of a nation that had rallied together, drawing on every available resource to ensure victory. In the months that followed, the POWs at Camp Butner awaited news of the war's conclusion and their eventual repatriation. Their experiences in the United States, particularly at the munitions plant, had left an indelible mark. The interactions with American women workers, the exposure to different cultural norms, and the first-hand observation of a nation mobilized for war had provided valuable insights into the capabilities and resilience of a society they had once underestimated. As the war drew to a close, the lessons learned by the German POWs at Camp Butner would resonate long after their return to Germany. The story of their time in America and their encounters with the women who powered the home front would serve as a testament to the transformative power of necessity and the potential for change in the face of adversity. The legacy of these experiences would echo through the post-war years, contributing to the broader dialogue on gender equality and the reshaping of societal roles in the modern world. In reflecting on their time in the United States, many of the POWs recognized the fundamental shifts taking place, both within themselves and in the societies they had come to know. The war had not only altered the geopolitical landscape, but had also catalyzed a reevaluation of traditional roles and assumptions. The women at the munitions plant were emblematic of this change, challenging the status quo, and demonstrating that capability and resilience were not bound by gender. As the POWs prepared to return to their homeland, they carried with them these new perspectives, aware that the world they had known was changing and hopeful that the lessons learned might one day contribute to a more equitable and understanding future. As the war stretched into its grinding years, the munitions plant near Camp Butner emerged as a pivotal hub in the daily existence of the German POWs. This facility, a veritable engine room of the war effort, was a testament to the seamless integration of precision and efficiency that characterized American industry at the time. At the heart of this operation were the American women, who had become the linchpins of the production lines. These women, embodying the indomitable spirit of Rosie the Riveter, not only maintained but frequently surpassed the productivity benchmarks set by their male predecessors. For the German POWs, initially assigned auxiliary roles, their duties offered them a front-row seat to observe this industrial ballet. Each day they watched as the plant hummed with activity, a well-oiled machine where every cog and wheel was precisely calibrated to maximize output and minimize errors. The workspace was a testament to meticulous organization, with each station strategically designed to ensure efficiency. The women moved with practiced grace, their hands dancing over the machinery, adjusting controls and ensuring that the relentless production targets were not just met, but often exceeded. The plant, in many ways, was a microcosm of the larger war effort, where every action was deliberately orchestrated for peak efficiency. The foreman, a seasoned veteran of industrial management, played a crucial role in maintaining this finely tuned environment. His pragmatic approach was evident in his interactions with both the American workforce and the German POWs. He was a firm believer in the potential of every individual to make a meaningful contribution, a belief that was clearly reflected in the plant's inclusive and harmonious atmosphere. For the German POWs, the plant was nothing short of a revelation. It was a place where traditional gender roles were turned on their head and where competence and commitment were the only criteria for respect and recognition. This was a stark contrast to the propaganda-fed perceptions they had held before arriving in the United States. The foreman's guidance was instrumental in helping the POWs navigate this new reality, offering them insights into the American way of life that extended well beyond the confines of their camp. As the months passed, the POWs began to develop a deep appreciation for the women's expertise. Many of these women had undergone extensive training, either through government-sponsored programs like the Women's Army Corps or through on-the-job experience, equipping them to handle complex technical tasks with confidence and precision. Their work was not merely a stopgap measure, it was a critical component of the war effort, underscoring the adaptability and resilience of the American workforce. In their exposure to the plant's operations, the POWs received an informal education in modern industrial processes. They observed the implementation of rigorous quality control measures, the importance of cohesive teamwork, and the pivotal role of innovation in overcoming logistical challenges. These experiences broadened their understanding of industrial practices that would prove invaluable when they returned to a post-war Germany in need of reconstruction. Beyond the technical lessons, the plant also reflected broader societal changes taking place during the war. The presence of women in roles traditionally reserved for men signaled a profound shift in societal norms, one that was being diligently documented by journalists and scholars of the era. Reports in newspapers and magazines highlighted the invaluable contributions of women to the war effort, often spotlighting stories of individual achievement and collective triumph. Through their interactions with the women workers, the POWs gained insights into the social dynamics of wartime America. Conversations during breaks and shared tasks revealed personal stories of families, aspirations, and the challenges faced by women as they balanced work and home responsibilities. These interactions humanized the American workforce for the POWs, offering them a perspective that was starkly absent from the rigid military hierarchy they were accustomed to. In the broader context of the war, the experiences at the munitions plant were part of a larger narrative of change. The war had acted as a powerful catalyst, accelerating shifts in gender roles and labor dynamics that would have profound implications in the post-war world. The contributions of women during this period were increasingly recognized as not only crucial to the immediate war effort, but also as a harbinger of future societal transformations. As the war drew to a close, the impact of these experiences on the German POWs was significant. The realization that half of America's population was actively contributing to the war effort in such a substantial manner challenged their preconceived notions and prompted a re-evaluation of the ideological constructs they had been taught. This shift in perspective was emblematic of the broader ideological dismantling taking place within the confines of the camp and beyond. With the end of the war came the prospect of repatriation for the POWs. As they prepared to return to a Germany grappling with the twin challenges of defeat and reconstruction, the lessons learned at the munitions plant remained with them. These lessons encompassed not only the technical aspects of industrial work, but also the resilience and determination of individuals in the face of daunting adversity. The story of the German POWs at Camp Butner and their encounters with the American women workers became a small but significant chapter in the larger history of World War II. It highlighted the transformative power of necessity and the capacity for societies to adapt and evolve under pressure. The legacy of these experiences would continue to influence the POWs long after their return home, shaping their views on gender, work, and the possibilities of a changed world. In the years that followed, the contributions of women during the war increasingly came to be recognized as paving the way for future advancements in gender equality. The munitions plant, with its blend of technical prowess and social change, stood as a testament to the potential for progress, even in times of conflict. As historians and scholars continued to explore this pivotal period, the stories of those who lived through it provided invaluable insights into the dynamics of a world at war and the enduring impact of those who rose to the challenge. The munitions plant near Camp Butner thus emerges not just as a site of production, but as a crucible of transformation. It was a place where the boundaries of gender roles were redrawn, where the potential for human ingenuity and adaptability was realized, and where the seeds of future societal shifts were sown. The experiences of the POWs and the American women who labored alongside them serve as a powerful reminder of the resilience of the human spirit and the capacity for progress in the face of adversity. As the war concluded, the process of repatriation for the German POWs at Camp Butner began in earnest. Records from the U.S. Army Provost Marshal General document the systematic efforts to prepare the prisoners for their return to Germany. This included logistical arrangements and the provision of skills training aimed at aiding their reintegration into a post-war society in need of reconstruction. The German POWs left Camp Butner with a wealth of experiences that had reshaped their perspectives over the months of internment. Their interaction with American society, particularly through their work alongside women in the munitions plant, provided them with insights into the potential for societal change. Camp records indicate that the POWs returned to Germany with a newfound understanding of the capabilities of women and the evolving nature of workforce dynamics. For the American women who had worked alongside the POWs, the end of the war brought both a return to peacetime routines and the dawn of new opportunities. The U.S. Department of Labor records show that many women continued to seek employment beyond traditional roles, contributing to the gradual shift toward greater gender equality in the workplace. The wartime experiences had equipped them with skills and confidence that would be instrumental in challenging existing norms. The munitions plant itself transitioned back to peacetime production, but the legacy of its wartime operations endured. It stood as a symbol of the critical role played by women in the workforce and the broader societal shifts that had occurred during the war years. The plant's history became part of the narrative of industrial and social progress in mid-20th century America. In the years following the war, the experiences of the German POWs and American women workers at Camp Butner were occasionally revisited in academic studies and historical accounts. These documents serve as a testament to a unique period in history, illustrating the intersection of war, labor, and social change. The records provide a factual basis for understanding how necessity drove innovation and how individuals adapted to new roles in times of crisis. Ultimately, the story of Camp Butner and its munitions plant offers a factual account of a time when traditional roles were challenged and new possibilities were explored. It highlights the adaptability of human societies in the face of adversity and the enduring impact of such experiences on the post-war world. The archival records preserved in various institutions continue to offer valuable insights into the complexities of wartime America and the transformations that shaped the future.